this session. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining on time. Today, we are very glad to present to you this webinar with our professor, Aggie Orsz. And this event is sponsored by Equatisol, which is the Ecuadorian Association of Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages. We also have the help of the Universidad Yachay, of course, our research group, English Research Group, ITEP Ecuador, and of course, it is sponsored by Universidad Nacional de Educación. So in case you want to find out more information about Equatisol, you can use the QR code so you can see their different social media. Okay, so we have the Instagram account. And this is the link for the registration of the QR form for the registration. I will share the link in the chat box later, but in case you have you can use your cell phones to open the registration form, would be great. But don't worry, I would share the link in the chat box also. In case you want to be part of the Equatisol WhatsApp group, you can also use the QR code. And of course, I will share this information in the chat box. So we have here a quote: teaching English is not just about conveying language, it's about empowering voices, bringing cultures, and unlocking the potential for global understanding. And today we have our very special guest, Agnes Orsz, who is an English professor here at UNAE, and she is going to present techniques for effective classroom management. Thank you, Aggie, for being part of this event, for giving us your time, and I hope all of you take advantage of today's webinar. Thank you. The floor is yours, Aggie.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Like I say, it would be so much more enjoyable for me if you could turn on your cameras. That would be absolutely amazing, so I could see your beautiful faces. And feel like I can look into your eyes, because one of the most important things about classroom management is making eye contact with your audience. Okay, the first thing first is, can you write in the chat? Are you a teacher? Are you a student? Are you a teacher in a public school? Are you a student at UNAE? Can everybody just write it in the chat for me to see if you're here at all? Because since your cameras are not on, I don't know, maybe I just have Tanya, Ubaldo, and Jonathan, and everybody else has gone to the bathroom. I have no idea. Are you here? Write in the chat if you are, where you work. Thank you so much, Ellie. Um, for example, I'm a teacher at UNAE, or I'm a student at UNAE, or I'm a teacher at a public school. Okay, Nicole, thank you. You can write it to the whole group so everybody can see. Okay, so far we have students. Nicole, which semester are you in? Thank you, Jennifer. I know Jonathan said he was in second semester. Okay, students also. All right, interesting. Oh, Valdito, I don't know if there's anything new I can teach you, my love, um, to be honest. But I will do my best.
Sharing is learning.
I will do my best. Okay, Nicole is in third semester, second semester, second semester. Okay, interesting. Okay, good. Is there anybody who is already teaching? Do we have any teachers from schools? Okay, interesting. So mainly second semester students. Okay. All right. I am going to share with you, thank you so much for everybody that answered. I'm going to share with you my PowerPoint for today, and I'm going to um, also try and send that to you in some way afterwards so that you have it. All right, let's go. Let's see if we can go from here. All right, can somebody confirm that you can see this?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
see.
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so this is usually how I start my sessions on classroom management. What is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with this picture? What do you think? You can write your answer in the chat, or you can raise your hand or just open your microphone and speak. Yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. What can you see? What is wrong here?
The students are making different activities.
Good, right, very good, yes. And Consuelo says nobody is engaged. Absolutely. So now I want to ask you, whose fault is this? Whose fault is it that the students are doing different things and that nobody is engaged? Whose fault is it? What do you think? You can write it in the chat, or you can just turn on your microphone. I'll give you a clue. You have two options, right? It's the student's fault or it's the teacher's fault. What do you think? Everyone. Interesting. Okay, so kind of both. Okay. Both. Interesting. Why don't we try this? If you can see your reactions in the Zoom, let's try this kind of like how I would do TPR in the actual classroom. So let me see if I can find an example. Hmm. You know how you can like give little reactions, like a one like this or one like this. I don't know. Let's try. If you think it's the student's fault, can you put a thumbs up if you think it's the student's fault? And maybe you can give a clap if you think it's both. And I can't even see what other reactions are there. Here, I can't see my reactions. There we go. Gets both. Okay, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Ellie. Does anybody think that it's the teacher's fault? Is there anyone? Maybe you can raise your hand. Does anybody think that it's the teacher's fault? Thank you, Valdito. I do too. Guys, I'm sorry to say, if you are a teacher, I'm sorry to say that it is entirely 100% the teacher's fault. Okay? It's not the student's fault. Students are just being students. Students are just being normal humans, right? But look at the energy of the teacher. Look at the picture, right? I mean, how would you feel if your teacher came in every day to your session with the hand like this and the face like this. Today we're going to learn some English. I hate my job and I hate you all because you're all bad students. I mean, imagine, right? If your teacher comes in with that energy, right? How are you going to feel, right? So the number one thing, if there's anybody out there listening, the number one thing I want you to take away is energy, right? Even through this Zoom class, I am trying to emit as much energy, as much positive energy as I possibly can, making eye contact with the people that I can see, smiling as much as I can. Although I had an operation, I had a tooth extraction last week. So like half my face like doesn't even smile, but I'm doing my best, right? I'm trying to smile. I'm trying to emit as much positive energy as I possibly can through this screen to you. Thank you, Tito, for turning on your camera. Thank you so much. So the first thing I want to tell you about classroom management is that energy that you come in with as a teacher, that is the energy you're going to get back from your students. Okay? So that's, I think, that like the number one most important thing about classroom management personally for me. All right. So let's continue. Let's see if I can make this all right. So, what I want to cover today is what is classroom management, right? And I want to definitely talk about your specific classroom management challenges and solutions. If we have time, a little bit about Vernier's theory of motivation and some techniques that I use that I find helpful in my classroom management. Okay, so let's get started. So what I would like you to do, I'm not going to put you into groups yet. If this was a face-to-face session, I would put you in groups now to do this brainstorming, but let's just do it openly in the chat. Make sure you send your answer to everyone, not privately to me. Send your answer to everyone in the chat, okay? So what is included in classroom management? Okay, write as many ideas as you can. And ideally, I would like at least one idea from everybody. Okay, so what is included in classroom management? So I have an example here, right? The layout, that means organization, right? The layout of the tables and the chairs, right? That's a big part of classroom management. We already talked about the teacher's energy, right? The teacher's energy. That's a big part as well of classroom management. So let's see if everybody can give at least one example. Okay, class routines. Absolutely. Absolutely. Infinix. I assume that is not your name, but thank you for that. Can you tell me what you mean by that? Can you turn on your microphone maybe, if you like? Discipline, control, and students' engagement. Thank you. Absolutely. The way you manage everything in the class to keep it a safe place for learning. Interesting. Giving roles to teachers. Hello, Heidi. Board content organization. Very good. Rapport, clear instructions. Absolutely. Instructions are a huge part. Right, let's see if we can get a few more ideas. Time management, very good. Creating a confident atmosphere, all right, where students feel confident. Behavior control, yes, that is a big part of it, especially in schools. Hello, Martita. Hi. Classroom routines like daily actions that the students do, greetings, the opening of class, the closing of the class, very good. Having a daily routine, very nice. Yes, rules, absolutely. Very important. Silence and noise control. That's an interesting one, Miyoshi. Yes, some teachers believe that there should be silence in the classroom. Unfortunately, I don't share that belief. I think that if students are talking and they're engaged and they're speaking and they're having fun and they're laughing, actually, that's a great classroom. Okay, develop the class step by step, have a good classroom attitude, respect. Yes, absolutely. All of those things. Excellent. Okay. Oops. All right. So what categories would you say, looking at this big list, what categories emerge here? If we look back at all of these things, what do you think are the major big categories of classroom management? You can write it in the chat or you can raise your hand if you like. There are three main aspects. I'll give you a clue. Yeah, there are three main aspects of classroom management that include all of these things. Okay, we have student engagement, positive reinforcement, clear expectations, consistency, welcoming learning environment, and so on. Yeah, all of those things. Very good. Thank you, Consuelo. Wonderful. All right. So, okay. These are the three main aspects, according to Cambridge, of classroom management, right? The first one is the physical aspect, right? The physical aspects of the classroom. All of the physical things that happen, tables, chairs, projectors, all of that. The second one is student engagement and behavior, right? So are your students engaged? Are they behaving correctly? And then the third big one is how you set up activities, so instructions, and how you get feedback, how you lead activities, right? So classroom management is actually a huge topic with lots of things included in it. So I won't be able to cover everything today, but hopefully we will be able to cover some of the things that are useful for you specifically today. All right. So we have physical aspects, right? Student engagement and behavior, and how you set up activities and get feedback. All right. For those of you who are students at UNAI and you'll be taking didactics next semester, because some of you said you were in second semester, in third semester, this will be in the final exam. Just a heads up. Okay, so you know. All right. So let's keep moving. Okay. This is just the same thing, except this is the way that Cambridge phrases this, but I prefer my way, the way that I have summarized it before. Okay, so let's have a look. Look, these are the physical aspects of the classroom, right? The board, the projector, sound, tables, chairs, those things we know. Okay, doors. Are your doors open or closed? It's part of classroom management. And that is related to the ventilation and the temperature, right? Is there oxygen in your classroom or is everything closed and the students are losing oxygen, right? The temperature of the classroom, the lights. Is it too light? Is it too dark? Any worksheets or other materials that you use, and obviously technology, right? Your projector. Is the projector on when it should be, off when you're not using it? And I have this picture here of this guy writing kind of on or over the projection. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to do this at UNAI, but just make sure, obviously, when you're projecting something, you don't write over the projection. Okay, so all of these physical aspects. Okay, so let me ask you, what is the best layout? So the best organization of tables and chairs in a classroom. What do you think? What do you think? How should we organize the tables and the chairs in a classroom in an English lesson, in an English class? What do you think?
On a English class or a lesson?
In an English class, American
Or
English, in
class.
an English lesson,
Uh,
British English.
okay, for a class, for me always is groups of four and a lesson one for table. It's important for me.
Ah, okay. So lesson in English means
Yes.
class. It doesn't mean lección. Okay? It's a false friend. It's a non-cognate. Okay? Like embarrassed, embarazada. They sound similar, but they don't mean the same thing. Okay? Lesson means class. All right? It doesn't mean test. It doesn't mean exam. All right? Um, okay, so it depends on the activities, a semicircle or in teams, in a horseshoe. I do agree. Yeah. So Cambridge recommends a horseshoe. Um, depends on the language being taught. That's interesting. So if I'm teaching Chinese, maybe I should have a different layout than if I'm teaching English. Um, so definitely horseshoe or groups. Yeah, 100% horseshoe or groups is the best layout in a classroom. Because the normal layout that I see in Ecuadorian schools, so you have the students in rows, but think about how that makes communication difficult, right? So if we want to develop a communicative classroom where students can speak to each other, when they're in rows, they're just looking at the back of people's heads. So it's very difficult to communicate that way. Ideally, you would want students in a horseshoe. But unfortunately, we have another challenge in Ecuador is that we have too many students in one classroom. So doing a horseshoe with 40 students is very difficult. Tito, in your context, how many students do you have in a classroom?
I have an average of 15 students.
Oh, well, that's very nice. And how do you set up your classroom? What is your classroom layout?
Semicircle would be to begin with, but then it may change based on the focus of the activity
Yeah, very
or what
good.
I want to accomplish.
Yeah, very good. So if you have 15 students, a semicircle or a horseshoe shape is perfect, right? And this is a big part of classroom management. And you can, and then as a teacher, so this is difficult to show here, but these are your students, right? So then as a teacher, you could be like moving around here. If you have a chair with wheels, then you can move around on the inside and monitor it that way. And then you can put your students in pairs or groups very easily. Okay. Now, Nube has 40 students, right? So this is the reality in a lot of Ecuadorian schools is 40 students. Now, with 40 students, a horseshoe is going to be very difficult to do. And usually the classrooms are pretty small. So there I would recommend groups, having students around tables, around groups of 4, 5, or 6. But as Jonathan says, for usual activities where we're doing activities, we would not use rows. So if you can avoid rows, that would be great in your classroom. All right, because it's not very communicative. Okay. So that is the physical aspects. Okay, that's aspect number one of classroom management, thinking about how you're using all the physical aspects. Okay, now behavior management, making sure students are focused, making sure students are behaving appropriately. Yes, I think you should avoid rows. Yeah, I think you should avoid rows. I think for a communicative classroom where you want to maximize student talking time, you want to ideally have groups or a semicircle. Okay. For engagement and behavior, this is the second aspect of classroom management. Look at your students. Are they listening to you? Are they participating? Or are they texting under the table? Are they engaged and motivated? What are the energy levels like? Are they having fun, right? In your classroom. You want them to have fun. Yeah. English should be fun. All right. And are they doing what you've asked them to do? Are they doing it in English? Are they learning? Right? This is the big part of behavior management. So now I would like to put you into breakout rooms. I'm going to come and visit. So you need to speak to each other in English. All right. I'm going to come and visit your breakout rooms. So I want you to think about the worst behavior that you have seen from a student if you are a teacher. If you are a student, think back of when you were at school. What was the worst thing that happened? And I have asked my students and my trainees this question. I have heard everything. I've heard horror stories, but I'm hoping to hear something interesting today. What happened? Yes, either for you as a teacher or for you as a student. And if you were the teacher, how did you deal with this bad behavior? Was it the best way to deal with it? And maybe were there any other way that you could have handled this? Okay, so let's see. ICQs. Who can I see here? Ellie, are you with us? Ellie? Miyoshi, are you with us? Consuelo. Hi. Hello, can you turn on your microphone, Consuelo? I'm so glad you're here. Um, oh my God. Okay, Martita, are you with us?
Yes, Jackie.
What are we going to do now?
Well, we are going to go to breakout rooms and we are going to share an experience that maybe we had with some student or students having like a different behavior.
Very good. So you're going to tell the story, right? What is that worst behavior that you heard? Okay. And then there's two more things I want you to talk about. Do you remember? Who remembers the two more things? Jonathan, do you remember? Yes, Maria.
Yes, how we dealt with that problem and if that was the best way to deal with that.
Superb. Extra points for Maria today. Excellent. Okay. How you dealt with it, was it the best way to deal with it? Okay. So have a little conversation, okay, in your breakout rooms. Now, do I remember how to make breakout rooms? Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. It's been a while. It's been a while. All right, let's have a look. Oh no, that's too many. Okay. Give me a second. Hmm. Oh, lots of people have joined us recently. Okay, that's good. Okay, here we go. Now we have five participants or four participants in each room. I'm going to come and visit, so I want to hear you speaking. Okay, ready? Ready? Three, two, one. Here we go. Tanya, I think the people that haven't joined the breakout rooms honestly should not be graded as present because I don't think they really are present.
Okay, okay, I will check that. Uh-huh. Okay, everyone, I have assigned you to different rooms, so please try to join your room. And don't worry if you don't want to speak. You can share your thoughts in the chat box, but try to join the different breakout rooms so you can learn from other teachers and of course other students. Okay, and each one of the breakout rooms you have to share about I don't know, the worst students' behavior that you have experienced being a teacher, or if you're a student, you can talk about any behavior that you have seen when you were at school or in high school. So you can comment and share that with other people. And then if you're a teacher, you can say how did you deal with that situation? What were the actions that you did? And of course, what would it have been better to do in that situation? So all of you have been assigned to different breakout rooms. If you can join, please. Yeah, and this is very common. What I don't know, Laxmi have shared in the chat box. Sometimes some students love, making bad jokes about other students, and sometimes that can cause a conflict between them, and of course, it could even get to physical actions. Yeah, sometimes it is with just one action, the students can change their behavior, but sometimes we need to take different strategies. If you can read what Lakshmi have written in the chat box, if you don't want to speak, you can share your ideas in the chat box about the situation that Lakshmi have shared there. I don't know if you can see one participant have shared an experience in the chat box. We were commenting that here.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh, I don't think I can see it. I've just come back. All I can see is that we're not allowed this kind of behavior in the institute, and as part of the rule, they felt sorry. But I can't see any other one there. But maybe, do you want to share with us?
Can I
All
say
right.
something?
Edison, yes?
Yes. Okay. And usually the people who are okay, one of the biggest problem nowadays is that people don't students don't pay attention and they are doing whatever they want to do at that moment except English. So, and essentially what they want is some confrontation so they can be famous for some minutes. So the idea is not to give them that to achieve that purpose. So if I have this problem with, especially because with rowdy students or noisy students, so what I do is I start writing the instructions on the board instead of shouting or asking for silence or something. I just write the activities, and there is always somebody who is paying attention, and that person is going to begin doing it. And sometimes it's like it spreads. People begin working with with the person next to each other or next to him or her, and then they begin working because why should you say in English you say you need two to tango, right? Why should I involve myself in a fight? So I shouldn't give them the power
Thank you.
over me and over the class.
Thank you, Edison. How old are your students?
No, I am a retired teacher, but I used to teach. I taught all levels. I taught from second grade, and now that I am teaching two seniors, my oldest one is 82.
Oh,
But
wow.
now
Okay.
I teach Spanish. I'm teaching
Nice.
how to write their memoirs and
Oh,
things like.
oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, but
Yes. So
still,
when I
I
think,
love English, and that it made my life good.
thank
So
you.
I continue doing.
This idea of seeking confrontation, it tends to happen within the teenage years. And it's quite common among teenage boys. So, and it's true, you do not want to get into a confrontation with a teenage boy about anything, especially because for that teenage boy, their peers, their friends in the classroom are much more important than the teacher. So their friends in the classroom, their opinion of their friends in the classroom is much more important for their identity than what the teacher thinks of them, and it's more important than their grades. So you definitely don't want to get into a confrontation in front of the whole class because they want to look cool, right? That's what they want. They want to look cool for their friends. Look at me, I'm confronting the teacher. I'm cool. I'm the bee's knees, like we say in English. So if you do need to speak to that student, make sure you speak to them one-to-one. So I would take them out or after the lesson, sit them down. And usually they turn into quite a normal human being if you speak to them one-to-one and they don't have an audience of their friends, right? But if their friends are there, forget it. All right. But also I want to say, yes, if you want to get your students' attention, make sure that your lessons are super fun, right? English can be fun. We're so lucky, right? We're not teaching maths. We're not teaching geography. We're not teaching, I don't know, science. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. We can talk about whatever our teenagers or our students are interested in. As long as we do it in English, we can find the most interesting topics for them, the most interesting games that we can play with them. Because really, the key to engagement is if your class is more interesting than doing nothing, or it's more interesting than chatting to your friend, right? If you have an activity that's super fun for the students to do, then they will prefer to do that. And I think that's a key, is really planning your class in such a way that it's going to be super fun, super kinesthetic, get them out of their chair, right? Have them standing up, have them run to the board. Don't have them sitting down all the time, right? Even for adults, that's boring, right? At least do a little bit of a mingle or a carousel activity where students can get up out of their chair, where they are allowed to have a competition, have a game, right? I think all of those things are key to classroom management because you can avoid behavior problems if your students are interested in your classroom. If your students are interested in the activity, there's no time to misbehave, right? If you're not blah, 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 teacher talking time all the time, then there's no need for the students to pay attention. There's only the need for students to participate. And students love participating in games. They love participating in activities, in role plays, in a movie project, make an audio, make a video, right? As long as you're using English, you will have much fewer behavior problems if you really plan a fun class or a fun activity for your students. I think that really, really is key. All right. We have practically no time left. I only have 10 more minutes left. But let's go from here. Okay. I'm going to give you a true or false little quiz. All right. I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you if I can. There. We'll do from current slide. Let's see. Okay. Martita, can you confirm that you can see this? Okay, fabulous. So we're going to do a true or false activity. So in a classroom, when I do this with my students, I call it TPR, total physical response, because one hand means true and two hands means false. So I can see some of you. So if you have your camera on, we can do the same. One hand true, two hands false, right? But if I can't see you, then I want you to use the little emojis, the little reactions there. Okay. Oh, I can see more and more of you. That's great. Thank you. To tell me whether you think these things are true or false. Okay, so let's go with the first one. Do you think this is true or false? You should add variety to your classes in any way that you can. Mix up the groups, have students work with different partners, have some individual work, pair work, group work, a team game, focus. Do you think this is true or false? Show me. So remember, true is one hand, false is two hands. Very good. True, right? So make sure you have lots of variety in your classes. So it's not always the same, right? Your English class is always different. You're always doing something different in your classroom. Your students are on their toes, right? And they can't wait for English class. What is she going to come up with today? What are we going to do today? Are we going to have a project? Are we going to go outside? Are we going to have a team game? What are we doing today, right? Your students should be like super excited about their English class. All right, let's see the next one. Take advantage of every minute. In other words, eliminate dead time. So that means that you arrive to your classroom 5 or 10 minutes early. You have your computer set up, your links ready, open and ready to go. What do we think? True or false? What do we think? Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Teresa. Yes, true, right? Please, if your class starts at 8 o'clock, you can't arrive at 8:05 or at 8:10 and start setting up your computer at that time, right? In some schools, students only have 40 minutes of class time. If you waste 10 minutes, you only have 30 minutes of class time. How will our students learn if we're wasting so much time? All right. Let's do the next 3 together because they're all 3 true or all 3 false. Have something for them to do the minute they walk in. Start on time. And instructions for activities should be clear, short, written, and chunked. That means don't give all the steps of the instructions at once. What do we think? True or false? True, okay, obviously, right? The main thing here is instructions, okay? When I watch my students teach, and students from UNAE who are now in segundo ciclo, listen to me now. You're going to have me for your teacher for 3rd semester. Instructions, right? Clear instructions, all right? Don't give all the instructions at once, step by step. Okay, the next one. Speak to your class in the most advanced English you know at the fastest speed that you can. True or false? It's false, right? Be careful, right? Sometimes teachers want to show everything they know. I mean, imagine if I started talking to you like this, then you wouldn't understand the bloody thing I'm saying. I can talk fast. I'm pretty good at English. But when I'm teaching, right, I have to slow down and use simple language. Okay, very good. Thank you. You got all of that right. Okay, about the last one, this is called grading your TTT. It means you grade your teacher talking time to the level of your students. So if your students are A1, you're not going to be talking to them really fast using phrasal verbs and all that. All right? So you have to be really simple in your English. Yeah? Short, simple. You can use cognates, right? Words that are the same or similar in Spanish and English, right? You can say to your student, "You're very intelligent." They might understand. Instead of saying, "You're very smart," because smart is not a cognate, right? So try to use words that they are likely to understand. All right, let's do that one more time. Okay, true or false? Let's see. Do not have your students in rows unless it's an exam. True or false? It's true, ideally. I know you wrote that in some schools this is not possible. The inspector comes. But I'm telling you what I know, right? What I know is for students to learn a language, they have to communicate. They can't communicate if they're looking at the back of their friend's head, right? Let's do what's possible. All right. What do you think? The volume of the audio obviously should not be too low, but it should not be too loud either. because there might be distortion, and there's also other teachers around you. True or false? True, okay? Be careful with the volume of your audio, right? You don't want to be bothering, right, the other people. Okay. Now, for the next part, because I only have 5 minutes left, I want you to read the rest of these and tell me which one or which ones is false. Which one or which ones is false? Write the number in the chat for me. Let's see who is awake. Write the number of the false one in the chat for me. Correct. Thank you. Correct. Tito, why?
Because from the beginning, I mean, why you planned something difficult if you know that you need to get at the level of the students, either language proficiency or even the way they interact with whatever you're presenting them. So
That's
it's
kind
usually
of true, but I know Ecuadorian English teachers in schools, they have a really hard time because they have this book, or they have books, or they have a curriculum that doesn't match the level of their students. So sometimes we are in this situation.
but the
Let me
language of
see.
delivery must.
Yeah. Vero Varela, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, hello. You look like you're in somewhere nice and warm. Why? Why number 5? Why shouldn't we say this?
Because you lose from the start. I mean, if and you never win when you start like that. Well, this is very difficult, so you are not going to. I don't know. I found this very strange. I would never say this to my students, really, because you lose. They know they are not going to do it, so they won't be able to do it, so they don't even try.
Exactly. Perfect. And Joanna, exactly, right? Exactly. This is exactly what I was going to say. Joanna writes in the chat, if you tell them something is difficult, then no matter whether or not it is difficult, they just assume that it is difficult and block themselves, and then they're not even going to be able to try, right? So be careful. I have heard teachers say this. I have observed thousands of teachers during teacher training, and I have heard teachers say this. They say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we have to do this. It's really hard. It's really difficult grammar. It's
That happens with
complicated, or it's
phonetics,
really
for example, at
confusing."
teacher training
Okay,
colleges.
so
This is
even
the
if
most
you,
difficult subject in the teacher training college, phonetics. And so
yes,
they
right?
usually start that way.
So stay positive, right? Even if this is what you're thinking in your head, like you're thinking, oh my God, this is really hard. Even if that's what you're thinking, don't tell them, right? Give them positive messages. You could frame it a different way, right? You could say, look, this grammar, you could use the word maybe challenging, or you could use the word new, right? This grammar is new. But I know you can do it if you pay attention. I'm going to do my best to make this as fun for you and as clear for you as possible. But I need you to pay attention. And if you pay attention, I know you can do it. Right? So you can frame it in a positive way like that. All right. Now, I did have lots and lots of other things planned for you for today, but I think we have run out of time. Let me see if what it is that I want to definitely share with you. So one thing that I wanted to do with you was a Padlet activity where usually I do this physically with post-it notes. Students love post-it notes. It's kind of a kinesthetic activity as well because they can move the post-it notes around. So what I wanted to do with you was to have you write some classroom management challenges. So can you see this Padlet? Yeah. Okay. So this is what I wanted to do, but I don't think we have time, right? So you were going to write your classroom management challenges, and I have an example, because always, oh, if you only take away one thing from today, when you give instructions, don't just explain the instructions, always show an example. Do a demonstration with the students. Show them what you want to do. That's the best way of giving instructions, okay? So you can see here I have an example. The problem is early finishers, right? In my class, there's always a group of students who finish the task first while the other groups are still working, right? What do I do? And then I've given an example of a suggestion. Well, maybe you could have some extra tasks ready for them or move to the feedback stage before all groups have finished to keep the pace going. All right. So this is an activity that would have been useful to do with you so we could get to some of your specific classroom management issues. And then I was going to show you a little bit of the things of motivation that I do, because one of the things of engagement, obviously, is motivation. But I can show you very quickly some classroom management techniques that I use, okay? Because one of the problems that often comes up is that when we ask our students to speak English in class, what do? They speak Spanish, right? So what I sometimes have is what I call a speak English card in class, and it's a red card and it's very useful. I wonder if I have it here so I can show you, but it's a red card and it says speak English. Everybody in Ecuador loves football, so they understand this. And I present it to the student who is speaking Spanish, and then they have to listen. Is there any other student speaking Spanish? And they give the card to that student. And the student who has the card at the end of the class has to do something like buy chocolates for the whole class or something like that, right? So it's an incentive to have the students speak English in class. It's very easy, very quick, and the students enjoy it. And I can relax because after hearing the first student speak Spanish, I'm not the one who's listening to it. The other students have to listen and pass the card over. So I really like that strategy. For behavior, I always start with a classroom contract. My first class with all of my students is always a classroom contract, especially with teenagers. Remember, teenagers are allergic to the word rules. So if you say, here are my rules, immediate block, don't like you, right? But if you talk about a classroom contract and you make it a more democratic activity, okay, what do you think the rules should be for food? What do you think the rules should be for participation? What do you think the rules should be for phones? And we make the classroom contract together. And usually they come up with some very reasonable rules, but we don't call them rules. And I have them sign this classroom contract, okay, which usually looks something very simple like this. And then if they are not listening or not pay attention, I can tell them, look, you signed the classroom contract. You promised you would listen when I spoke or when other teachers speak. Okay. And then my last little activity that I always do with them is a little get to know you activity at the beginning, because I think rapport is so important. If your students actually like you, they are not going to be misbehaving and I don't know, putting pins on your chair or chewing gum in your hair, right? If they like you, they will more likely want to work with you. All right. And to get them to like you, it's a good idea to let them know you a little bit. So I do this little true or false activity with them where they have to guess, which of these is true or false. Actually, I'm now at 42 countries. This is an outdated version, but I have indeed visited 42 countries. And I change these depending on the level of my students. Which one of these is false? Oh, I was never a champion speed skater. There you go. All right, I am out of time officially. So now I believe we have some time for questions. Tanya, is that right?
Of course, Aggie, if anyone of you want to ask any question to Aggie or probably make a comment, you are more than welcome.
Don't be shy. I don't bite.
I don't have any question. Thanks you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Did you learn anything today? Oh, there we have Melissa saved the day. Melissa saved the day. Yes,
Hi.
Melissa.
Hi, thank you for
I want
your
to dance.
hello. Do you
Hello.
listen to me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, thank you for your information. I have a question. How to deal in bad situations with the students in vulnerability? Because they are very emotional and sometimes in a bad way. So in my classroom, I have 35 kids. So I call sometimes to the counselor department, but I don't know the role they have. Thank you.
It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And in England, because I'm from England, a lot of these students would have a teaching assistant. So there would be another adult there to help you. And unfortunately, in Ecuador, that's not the case. The only thing I can say quickly is to speak to the student individually. Speak to the student individually before class, after class, get them on their own and see if you can understand each other a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, did you learn anything? Did you learn anything new today? Was this useful at all?
Of course, it was, and apart from that, we always refresh things that we stop thinking about some from time to time.
Thank you, Vero. I think that is true. I think that is true. Jocelyn was one of my students from the first cohort. She wrote me a message in the chat, but she wrote it directly to me, but I'm going to share it. She said, all these strategies work. They worked very well for me when I was studying at UNAI, and now they work for me with my students. So I'm really, really happy to hear that. Thank you so much. And Tito, I could see you going like this, so I'm glad you enjoyed the session. Is there anything in specific that you will take away from this session and apply maybe?
I want to say that I'm going to apply the games you suggested. Most of the time when I enter to my classes, I am sometimes very serious, but I learned that it's just the creativity of the teacher to enter with a fun, with a joke, maybe with a special kind of game, something like that.
I think honestly, it's the most important thing. So your facial expression, the way you use your body is the most important thing in classroom management because that energy, that's what you're going to get back from the students, right? So if you come in really serious, I can't even not smile right now. It's just like a natural smile. But if you come in really serious, that's what you're going to get back from the students as well, okay? And you want good energy for your students as well. Thank you. Teresa.
Good afternoon. After all I heard today, I think that the first person to be motivated to do or to be in our classes are we, the teachers.
Is so important. It's so important. Because how can we expect our students to be motivated if we are obviously demotivated, right? If we obviously hate our job and we obviously hate our students, how can we expect them to be motivated? right? So it definitely starts with us. I think that's the most important thing I want you to take away from this. Everything else, the strategies, they come and they are important. But the most important thing is that energy that you come in with. Thank you. All right, Tanya has shared the registration form. And thank you so much for being here. I always have so much fun in in these. I have so much fun. I don't know about you, but I have so much fun when I do these things. So it's what I absolutely love doing is teacher training, and I'm very grateful that I get to do it every day. And thank you, Tanya, for another opportunity for me to share my teacher training. Thank you, Haiti.
Thanks a lot, Aggie, for sharing these amazing ideas with us. I think, well, I am extremely happy because we have people from not just Ecuador, but people from Peru, from Argentina, yeah, from Colombia. So I am very happy to have you here. I hope you can join us in our next webinar. We will soon share news about that. But mostly, thanks, Aggie, for being our first speaker in 2026. And we are very proud of you here, Adonai, because you are, I don't know, an amazing teacher, and I have learned a lot from you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much. Well, I didn't know we had people from Colombia and Argentina and Peru. That is amazing. And if you ever have a TESOL conference and you feel like paying for my airplane ticket, I will be there, no problem. Bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you everyone for attending this webinar. As I told you before, we will have more webinars coming, and I hope you can join us. Thank you. Have an amazing afternoon.
Could you please share the link from where I can be informed about the webinars? Because a friend of mine sent me the link to this one, so I don't know where to get it from.
Ah, okay. Well, especially in social media, let's see if I can share again. We have
Or just the
here.
name?
The thing is that we are part of the Universidad Nacional de Educación, and we work with other institutions in order to provide this webinar. So if you can
Maybe you can
join,
share the Instagram account, the
exactly.
Instagram page from our research group, and also maybe Ecotiso.
Yes, yes, I'm going to share again the social media. I don't have the ones for our research group now. Let's see. I don't know, Martit, if you can share the link to our research group's social media in the chat box. Oh, uh, just let me share again. So this is the link to the Equatisol website, and there you can find information about our coming webinars. So if you can check that.
And that is the link to our research group, and it's already on the chat.
Yeah, so in the Instagram group, you can also find news about our coming webinars.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Aki. Thank you.
Agnes, thank you very much. It was great to hear you. Thank you for sharing, and we hope to see you back here again. As you said,
Thank
probably
you.
physically.
Thank you. Thank you.
Over and
Yeah,
out.
it's been fun. Thank you so much.
so that you can see the QR code for the Equatisol Instagram, and you can also find information about events and webinars there.
Thanks you, teacher. It was a incredible presentation. See you.
See you, Jonathan. Thanks a lot for joining. Thank you. Thanks to all of the students who joined us today, and have an amazing day. See you.
See you. Take care.
See you. Take care, all of you. Bye bye.